Good afternoon. Our today's session is format and presentation of report. That means how to write the report. This is your research report. What is the format and how to going for the presentation. So, what are the learning objectives? Discuss about the research report and report writing. Describes details how to present the report and discuss the details of presentation of the report. So first we have to discuss about what is format of research report. A comprehensive layout of the research report should comprise 3 points. One is preliminary pages, second one is the main text, and third one is the end matter. So everywhere when you are preparing any type of report in your research report, we have to follow the 3 point. First one is preliminary pages, second is main text, and third is end matter. So now, what is the preliminary pages? In its preliminary pages, the report should carry a title and date, followed by acknowledgements in the form of preface. So various type of report when you are preparing at that time, what happened? A title should be right in the first and the date of mention the date. And after that, you have to write the acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is very, very important when you prepare the format. So that means what happened? How you complete your research report, the help of someone, you have to mention that. Those are helped in your research work. So you have to put your name and give the thanks to them. So you can write in your acknowledgement. And another is preface. Preface means before you start your any report writing, so first you have to write that. So what about the report and how you complete the report, you write the preface or preliminary information, you can say that. And sometimes also you can write this abstract, also you can say that. So accordingly you have to prepare this one. After that, there should be a table of contents followed by the list of tables and illustrations so that the decision maker or anybody interested in reading the report can easily locate the required information in the report. So sometimes when anyone they want to read your report, so at that time what happens? If they are going for your table of contents, at that time what happens? They have to find out that which part is required, and accordingly they have to refer this one. That means what happens in your table contents? So everything it is given. Chapterization you can say that, table you can say that, figure you can say that. Any the illustration, if you want to put the table, you can directly they can follow it. So anybody when they see your the table of contents, so accordingly they can find out the which paper or which pages they want to refer or which content they want to refer. So this one happen is a primary pages, and in these pages what happen? You have to mention the title, you have to mention the acknowledgement, preface, and the table of contents, like your tables, figure, abbreviation, you can say that, and you can say that your appendix. So everything it is mentioned in your table. Then second one is your main text. This is very, very important for any report writing. The main text provides the complete outline of the research report along with all details. Main text provides the complete outline of your research report. So that means what happens? What you have done in your research, you have to present in the main text. Title of the research study is repeated at the top of the first page. So when you are writing the main text or any research report, after your table of contents, when you are writing, suppose introduction 1, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, up to the till end, before the references or including the references also. So in the right hand corner, first page, from the first page, you have to put the title of the of your research and follow other details on page number consecutively beginning with the second page. So when you are writing the second page, at the time what happened? Now always you have to mention this title for each pages, and every pages you have to put the page number. This is very, very important. When you are preparing your main text or your research report, at that time, what happened? After you completing in your preliminary pages, that is what happened. The first one is title, then acknowledgement, then preface, or you can use abstract, then table of contents. After that, a list of figure, a list of table, abbreviation, anything. After the content parts, then you have to write the main text. In your main text, first pages, you have to mention the top corner of the right hand side. Generally, you can write. So this is your title of the topics, and accordingly, you have to put all the pages till end of the report, and every pages you have to given the page number. Yes or no? Each main section of the report should begin a new pages. The main text of the report should have the following section. Every pages or every main section, each main section of the report should begin a new pages. Introduction, statement of finding and recommendation, the result, the implementation, drop the result, the summary. So that means what happened? Now suppose every chapter you are writing, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, up to till end, conclusion. So every chapter you write one introduction, every chapter, and finally you have to write the conclusion or summary, you can say that. In between the introduction and the conclusion or the summary, so you have to write statement of the finding and recommendation, the results, the implementation draw from the results. So in this way, you can write your each chapter of your main text, or you can say that. Now, suppose you want to start your introduction in your research report, or sometime you can show your thesis, or you can project report, anything. So first what happened? Now suppose after completing your preliminary pages, when you start your topics or thesis or the research report, at that time what happened? First chapter 1 you writing, then name of the chapter. Either you can write the introduction or anything you can write, no problem. Introduction. After that, first heading should be your introduction or background of the study. You can write in this way also. Chapter 1, first point is either introduction or the background of the study. Then after next point is that statement of finding and recommendation. So in these cases, open so many researchers or many researchers they are writing in this way. Now suppose you are writing a your suppose educational research or thesis. So at that time, what happened? You have to write about the study, background of the study. After that, about the study. You have to writing. Then the second point. Third point is significance of the study. Fourth point is statement of the study. Fifth, next point is now suppose that objective of the study, and next point is the scope of the study. After that, the limitation of the study. So in this way, sometimes you can write the organization of the study. So in this way, and last one is you can write the summary, or some chapter you can write the conclusion. And similarly, in chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, whenever it is required, the finding and recommendation and the result that drawn, implementation of the drawn from the result. So all the chapters, then the way of writing is a different way. Chapter 1 is different, chapter 2 is different, chapter 3 is different when you are writing your analysis chapter. Suppose data analysis. So at that time, what happened? That chapter writing in different way. So first you write the in chapter, you write the introduction. After the introduction, then you have to write data analysis. Which data you have to analyze? After data analysis, which analysis you have to done in your research report, in your research. So you have to mention everything. So after that, you have to write the result. After that, you can write the interpretation. After that, you write the finding. So many things you can write. So this is coming under your main text. In your main text, what happened? First, you have to write the introduction. Second, you have to write the statement of the problem or statement of the study. Third, the result as per requirement of the chapter. Implementation draw from the result, which was the requirement. Then every chapter you can follow the conclusion or summary of the result, the chapter, or you can write the conclusion. Then, what is introduction? The purpose of introduction is to introduce this research project to the readers. It should contain a clear statement of the objectives, of research. That is, enough background should be given, make clear to the reader why the problem was considered worth investigating. A brief summary of other relevant research may also be stated so that the present study can be seen in that context. So that means what happened? Now, when you are writing the introduction of your topics of your research report, so at that time, whatever it is clearly mentioned that what should be your statement, what should be the objective, what should be your the background of the study, what the problem of the study. So all things it should be given in your introduction stages, and it should be present about your the topics, that is what type of why we are doing this research project and what is our aim and objective of this particular research report. So it will be mentioned in this year introduction stages. Then second one is statement of finding and recommendation. Statement of finding and recommendation means what happen? After introduction, the research report must contain a statement of finding and recommendation in non-technical language so that it can be easily understood by all the concerned. If the finding happen to be extensive, at this point they should be put in the summarized form. So sometimes what happen when you are writing your introduction of your any research or your research report, after that what should be your finding and recommendation you have to mention. So that means what happened that this report writing in the different way and different method you have to write. If you are following in this way, so you have to follow it that what is our finding or statement of finding of and the recommendation of our research product you have to mention in the second point. Third is result. The result section of the report should contain statistical summaries and the reductions of the data rather than the raw data. All the results should be presented in logical sequence and split into readily in identifiable sections. All relevant results must find the place in the report. That means when in the results cases, what happen basically when you are going for the data analysis at that time results is required. So that means what happen when in which section but in which statistical techniques we are using in the reports. So you have to mention that clearly from raw data to your conclusion. So this results chapter is very very important. It should be well presented. So if your results chapter or these results is not well presented, then there is a problem to find out the solution. There is a problem to find out the decisions. There is a problem to give the future suggestion to the future researchers. So there is some problem. So that's why the results are very, very essential and it should be presented in proper way, logical sequence, and it should be all the sections should be right in the particular results sections. How to implement implication of the result? Toward the end of the main text, the researchers should again put down the results of this research clearly and precisely. A statement of the inferences drawn from the present study which may be expected to apply a similar circumstances. The condition of the present study which may limit the extent of legitimate generalization of the inferences drawn from the study. The relevant questions that still remain unanswered or new questions raised by the study along with the suggestion for the kind of research they should provide answers for them. So implication of the result means whatever. Now after you find out all the results or find out the analysis, then only the implication of the result is coming. So in this implementation of implications of the results means what happened? The result clearly it is mentioned the clearly and precisely. So that means what happened? Now when anyone they are referring your research report, at that time maybe the relevant question they can find out from your research work, or maybe they are asking some question about your research topics and they can find out the solution from that particular result set. So this is very very important. And what happened? Now our implication of the results means what happened? Now we have to given the suggestion of about the study, or we can give the future research suggestion for the particular researchers though who want to do research work in the particular topics in the future. Then next one is summary. It becomes the customary to conclude the research report with a very brief summary, resting in brief the research problem, the methodology, the major finding, and the major conclusion drawn from the research result. When you are writing the summary of your research report, at that time what happened, you have to clearly mention all the research topics when you are using in your research report. So that is what happened. Now first you have to write the brief history of your research work. What you have to mention the research problem, you have to mention the research methodology, you have to mention the major finding, and you have to measure the major conclusion, and you have to mention the future research of your topics. So these 5 points you have to mention in your summary sheet. Summary means what happened? A detailed study about your research you have to mention in the following manner. One is research problem, brief research problem. You have to mention first about the title of your thesis or your research. Then you have to mention the research problem, identify the research problem. Then you have to mention in here also the objectives. Then you have to mention the methodology, the major findings and major conclusion, and the future suggestion also you can mention in your summary. Then end matter. End matter means what? Now at the end of the report, appendices should be enlisted in the respect of all technical data such as questionnaire, sample information, mathematical derivations, and the like of one bibliography of sources considered should be given. And sometimes also you can write the index should invariably be given at the end of the report. The value of index lies in the fact that it works as a guide to the reader for the contents in the report. So in your end matters what happened. Now when after your conclusion, in your end matter is very, very important for the reference. Those are referred in your research report. They have to easily understood that what you have done and where you are there we are facing the difficulties. If they are facing the difficulty anywhere, if you are putting the end matter, that is your what is you can say that the appendices or the index, if you are mentioned there, they can refer and easily understand that what you have done in your research report. In your appendices, what happened? You can put in your questionnaire also. You can use your sample information. You can use their the mathematical derivation. You can use the bibliography, some bibliography, or you can sources, any sources you are collecting the data. So yeah, or you can use any sources of the what is you can there's a website or you can say URL. So all things you can use in the end matter, or you can say appendices. Similarly, also you can use the index and everything as per requirement. You can put this index in your all the report. In this index, what happen? Now you have to use. If it is not mentioned in your main text, they can refer with your index. So in your index, what happen? Now we can write what happen the reader contents, or you can find out the any analysis of your study you can put there, or any information you are not given in your main text of your thesis you can put there also. Yes sir. So these are called the index. Yes sir. Or you can say sometime what happen, indexing means what happen, now which pages you are writing in which analysis, in which pages you are writing in which that is what is sources of data you are collecting. So at that time also you have mentioning the indexing. That means what happen in your index is very, very important when you are doing your research. So generally in your books cases, so we are writing index. Index means what happen? Page number. Suppose one word is that that is objective of the study. It should be mentioned in page number 130. So you can mention there. Yes or no? That means when if you are writing the 200, 300 pages there, so if anyone refer to your thesis or your report, they want to find out what is the you are mentioning the conclusion. Conclusion in which chapter, which pages it is given. Either you are mentioning where in the table contents, or you can mention it in your index also. Index it is mentioned that the conclusion. The conclusion you can find out this one. So accordingly, in your end method is very, very important. When you when anyone refer to your research report, it will be clearly mentioned. Then question is that if the process to write the format of the research, what type of report we can write? So generally we are discussing in your research studies, the technical report is required. About the report is various type of report are available in the markets. Or in the research study, various type of report you can write. One is analytical report, you can say business report, you can say educational report. So many type of reports are available. Only I am discussing in today classes only the technical analytical report. How can you prepare in this one? Before you go for the analytical report, I am discussing some other part. Suppose in educational resource where you are doing. So at that time, how can you prepare? How what is the format to write the educational research? So listen, we are discussing about that how to write the format of the research work. So first one is the preliminary study. In your preliminary study, generally in your educational process or educational report, we are mentioning that first one is title of the your research. It is mentioned. Then whatever in that pages you have to mention that to whom you are going to submit it. It should be given. Then second format is that if you are doing your research work, some guidance with the others, so it should be mentioned there. That means whatever this is called, you have to put it guide certificate when you are writing the education, or you can say thesis. Then after that, when you are doing your research work, you have to given one certificate, student declaration. So after student declaration, then you have to mention the acknowledgement. After acknowledgement, then you have to write which one this one. Now this is called table of contents or contents you can write. In this contents entire thesis. So you have to mention in here chapter wise and also including the page number. So after this one, then you write, then you mention either list of figures, list of table, list of abbreviation, or anything you are using, or list of URL. You can mention there also. Then after that, if you are doing your PhD work, you have to mention the publication, details of publication. Also you can mention there. Then after that, you come to your main text. In your main text, generally what happens when you are going for educational research, so first you have to prepare your chapterization. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 like this. Chapter 1 should be introduction. In this introduction, what happened? Now you have to mention their background of the study, about the study, then your significance of the study, then limitation of the study, then relevant study, then your objectives and the observation of the report. So you have to mention in chapter 1. Then after chapter 2, so what happened? Now why you are using, but why you are doing your research work, framework of the study. Framework, or the you can write in that case as the about the study of topics. So you can put this chapter, or directly you can go for, if you are putting this one in chapter 1 introduction cases, then directly you can use literature review or review of literature. Review literature means what happened? Now you have to put in here how many papers or research published research you have to mention before you doing your research work. So how much literature you are reviewing. After that you are doing your research work, you have to mention details. And after you preparing your, what is, you can say that literature review, then only research gap you have to mention and your objectives. And this is very, very important topics or very important in your research report. You have to mention this one. After that, what happened? Method, research design or methodology, you can write that. In research design methodology, what happened? What design you have to use in your research report, you have to mention clearly. Design means what happened? Now here about the topics, about the research, data collection method, which sampling you are using, sources of data, what is your sample size, what is your sample frame, sample units, what is your methodology you are using, what is the tools and techniques you are using, what type of statistical analysis you are using, what is your framework of the study, what is your conceptual model of the study. So everything you have to use, you have to prepare, or you have to mention in your research design and the methodology section, or this is called the chapter. So after that, what happened? Now you have to use data analysis. Data analysis is one chapter. That means in this chapter, what happened? Those data you are collected from the respondents or from the that is market. So at the raw data, this is called the raw data. So this data, how to analyze? What is your analysis and result? What is the analysis of the conclusion? What is the interpretation? Everything you have to write in there. So sometimes whatever you can use data analysis one, sometimes use data analysis two. If graphical representation you are using in your thesis, in your report, first you go for data analysis one. Then if you are using the statistical techniques you are using, then you can also data analysis two. Or accordingly, as per your requirement, as per your analysis of the research, so you can put this one. So after that, what happen? You are going for finding. Finding means whatever is very, very important. Those finding you have to find out your data analysis and you have to mention this finding again. This is another chapter. And last chapter, generally we are using the conclusion. Conclusion, suggestion, or future suggestion, dependent. And this is very, very important. Conclusion means what happened? Entire summary or entire finding of your results. So you can find out the conclusion, and in this conclusion also you can given the future suggestion. After that you put your references. After that you put your references. So in this way, references. After that, in this way, after completing your thesis, then another one is you have to put it after reference. If it is required, then you put your appendix, or you can put your what is your indexing also. So indexing is very, very important for every researcher. But generally, what happen in an educational research, we are not putting the indexing. Only you are writing the appendices. Those techniques you are using, if it is not mentioning in your main text, again you are using the appendices, and anyone they can follow it. Or finally, you can use in appendix also the question. So that is required. But when you are using the technical report or analytical report, at that time what happen? Everything should be given in here. Exactly not the what type, the type of the educational research. It's probably little bit different. Different means what happen? Same thing. First, you have to mention the title page. Title page means what happen? Now, what is your title of your research work? Then after that, what happen? You have to not write in here the certificate like this. This is not required in here. Then you have to put your executive summary of your research. So executive summary, that means what happen? Now this is, you can say that in your educational research we can write the abstract, but in here in analytical report you can write the executive summary. Executive summary means what happen? Now what you have done in your research, entire research, what you have done. So everything you have to mention in this executive summary. So in this executive summary, if anyone they can read your executive summary, they have to understand that what you have done in your research work. Then after that you go for the table of contents. In that cases what happen? Acknowledgement is not required. Directly you can write your table of contents. In your table of contents, what you have mentioned, what you have done in your entire research report, so you have to put it. Chapterization you can say that, no problem. Unit wise you can say no problem. So anything as per the report. But generally what happens? The chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, it will be better. So you have to put this table of contents. After table of contents, what happens? If you want to use some tables, some figures, so you can mention this one. Table 1, table 2, table 3, like this, you can mention this one. And figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. And also you have to mention which pages you have to use which table, which pages you have to use which figure, and also accordingly mention and the name of the figure also. So after that, what happened? The glossary of the terms. Glossary of the terms is very, very important. Why? Now sometimes what you have done, sometimes I have no idea about, I have no time for suppose for reading your thesis or report entirely. So what happened at the time? What happened? Those key points are coming in your thesis. How to refer it? So at the time, what happened? We can use in the glossary, but wording. Suppose wording is research. What is research you are mentioning there? So what is suppose statistical analysis? Suppose ANOVA. What ANOVA you are putting there? So it is mentioned in here, and number of pages also there. So this page they have to refer. So after that, this completed, first part is completed, then you will go for the body. Body means something like your main text or main topics of your thesis. Or this is called the main text. So in your main text, what happened? Now each chapter you have to write. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, like this, everything you have to write, like your educational research or report cases. So you have to mention this one, this one, this one, this one. Body in your body, what happened? Now, as per your requirement of your research work, so you have to mention this one. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, but every chapter you have to one conclusion, you have to mention this one. After that, final conclusion also, after completing all the chapter, after that also you can put your conclusion. This is very, very important. Without conclusion, your research is incomplete. So conclusion must be there. Finding and conclusion. These two parts must be there. Any type of research format or any type of research, if you want to do it, so finding and conclusion is 100% required. If it is not mentioning in your research report, that means your research is incomplete. After that, the recommendation. Recommendation means what happened? Now you have to recommend your research for the future. So if anyone they want to refer in your research, then what is your recommendation? Now suppose that you are doing your research work and you are using some statistical techniques, suppose regression correlation analysis you are using only, and you are doing your research work. So when I want to go for the another research in the some particular same topics or related topics, and if that time if you are referring your thesis or your report as per your recommendation, I can use this technique in my research work. That means you have to mention that if anyone further they are doing research in the particular area or topics, they can may use this techniques to find out the better result. Now, suppose we are using the correlation, regression, and testing and other techniques, but you can use also the factor analysis, structural modeling, equation, or multi scaling techniques. You can use and you can find out the better techniques, better results. So it should be mentioned. That means you recommend this one. This research can be done with these techniques to find out the better result. So this is called recommendation. Then after that, appendix. Appendix means those techniques you are not using in your body of the research, so you can use the separate also. They can refer it, because sometimes what happens, now some problem if you are doing this one in your research topic, then more analysis would be required. So that's why you concise your analysis and you put these appendices. Then anyone to know that how can you solve this problem, they can refer your appendix 1 or appendix 2 or appendix 3. So there at the time appendix is required. And third one is bibliography. Bibliography means what happens. Now when you are doing your research work, which type of books or that is what is the research you are using in your research work. So if you mention, generally in bibliography what happens, now you have to mention the recommended books, but which books you are referring about your study. So you have to mention this one. This is bibliography. If you are using the papers, research papers, then this is called the references. You are not mentioning the bibliography. You are the references. But in technical analytical report, what happens when you are doing, so we cannot write the references. We are using the bibliography. Only the education research cases or research paper cases, generally we are putting the references. But in your analytical report cases, you are using, in place of references, you are using the bibliography. But in your research cases, you are not using the bibliography. At that time, we are using the references. So that's why in your analytical report, what happened? These are the main steps. So you have to follow it. First one is title of the page. Then you have to writing the executive summary. Then if you are using some tables and the figures in your research report, so you have to mention clearly table with table number with the number which pages it is available. So you have to mention, and the figure similarly figure is, if anyone you have to use abbreviation or any title of the word like this, also you can mention there. But in technical report, what happened? Now you have to mention the glossary terms. Those terms are important of your topics, of your research work, of your research report. So you have to mention this one. Then what happened? Now body of the research. Your body means what happened? Now how can you present your research entire chapterization? So you have to write this one. After that, after presentation, what happened? Now final chapter is should be your conclusion. Every chapter you can write the conclusion. Again, finally you have to write the conclusion. After that, the recommendation, appendices, and the bibliography. This is in this way you can write the analytical report, right? Then question is that how to present the report. If it is a research where you are going for the presentation, so how to present your report? This is very very important. What about now when you are doing your research work? After you are spending time 1 year, 2 year, 3 year like this. So finally, what happened? What you have done in your research, you have to present it. How do you have to present it? So generally, what happened? The presentation generally your PowerPoint presentation. Generally, presentation is the PowerPoint. How can you do it? Now we are discussing this one. A well-structured presentation will help your audience follow your argument and remember your main points. Start with an introduction that grabs their attention, states your purpose, and previews your main points. Then develop each point with evidence, examples, and explanation in the body of your presentation. So when you are going to present the report, so at that time what happened? Now your aim is that how it will be help to your audience to easily they can understand about your study and they can give the more attention about your study. Only you have to print out write the main points or main heading of your research work and you have to explain it. This is our aim to present the report. How can you present it? Now we have to present the report in the PowerPoint presentation. How to present the paper? How to start a presentation first? Tell your audience who are you, but who you are. Start your presentation by introducing yourself, along with sharing your name. Give your audience some information about your background. So when you are going to present your report, so before you present your topics or main text, first you have to start your presentation in this following way. Tell your audience who you are. That means, as per introducing yourself first, along with sharing your name, give your audience some information about the background of the study. Your background, then the background of the study. This is the first point. It's very, very important. Share what you are presenting. Next point is share what you are presenting. Tell your audience what you are going to be talking about in a succinct, organized manner. Think about your content and find several key points you hope to explain fully by the time you are finished. So that means share what you are going to present it. First, you have to give the information to your audience. So that means what happened? Now, when you are going to present to audience, they have no idea. They have you have to going for the presentation one process report. But what exactly you are going to present, they have no idea. So you have to give in the idea first before you are going to present. Because what happened? Now they are given the more attention towards your research presentation. So if they have no idea about this one, then what happened? That they are not interested, more interested toward your presentation because you have to create the interest. So next one is what happened? Let them know why it is relevant. Your audience need to know that what you are going to present or presenting is important. Consider pulling in data or statistics to help deliver the importance of your message. You could also share how this presentation might enrich their lives or help them develop a new skill. So that is what happened. The relevant of your research or relevant of your topic, why it is more relevant for the audience, first you have to define it or you have to present it. Say something about this one. Then if the audience are not given the more attention to our presentation, then what happened? You should tell a story about your topics. You have to prepare it. Because they have to go back. Because what happened? Now when you are going to presentation, to whom you are going to present it? For the audience. If audience are not given the attention to your presentation, that means your presentation will be well or good. So that means what happened? Everyone should listen to your presentation. So how to listen to presentation? Now you have to create this environment. So that means what about our studies, your research, and why it is relevant for the audience. So in this cases, what happen? You have to find out that this is your psychologically you have to find out that why whether the audience are most interested or not for my presentation. First, you have to find out, and accordingly, you have to convince, you have to give the more interaction to the audience, then they will more interact with your presentation. So that's why what happens. Sometimes what happens for the audience, if they are not interested or if they are not given the more focus on to your presentation, you should give some story also. Before you start with the slide presentation, you're organized. Consider telling a short, relevant story as it can be help build rapport with the audience. Your story can be humorous, idealistic, or thought-provoking, but make it 30 seconds to a minute or relevant information. So within the short story, so you can give information to the audience, then they will be more concerned with their presentation and they have more. Make an interesting statement also. If you do not have personal story to share with the audience, consider sharing a thought-provoking fact about your presentation relevance. If you decide to go forward with this approach, make sure to deliver your statement with confident body language and verbal tone. Now, sometimes what happens, now if you have no story, then you make a statement to the audience, it should be more interesting. They will follow you and they are more given the attention towards your presentation. And this is very, very, before you are going for presenting your topics, then this is very, very important. Either statement, interesting statement you have to give your audience. Then how to present the report? This is the format. This is the format of your presentation. That is, first you have to write the title of your thesis. That means what happens now when you are going to presentation, that means you mention the title, and after that you have to mention that presented by your name there or your designation, anything you can put there in this cases. Then after that, next slide, the slide should be clearly and it should be visible and it should be meaningful. These three is important. Title should be visible and it is clear. Yes, sir. It will be, if it will not clear, then what happens? They are more attractive. So when you are preparing a PowerPoint presentation, so it should be nicely you have to prepare. Because where you are anyone, your audience, where you are see your slide, they will be more interested. What you have written? After that, what happened? After that, what happened? So like this, you have to present your slide. And in your slide, don't more contact by contest text, more text you should not put there. It should be short and it should be clear and it should be meaningful. Then after that you write the table of contents, what you are going to present it. After slide wise you can write table of contents, what contents you are mentioning in your slide, you have to mention this one. So suppose that the first I am writing the objective of the study. Second I am writing the research gap. Third I am writing the statement of the problem. Fourth, I am writing the analysis and methodology and analytical techniques we are using for our research study. Then is analysis, then is finding, and conclusion. Because if the content is given that, so what you are going to present it. Then after that, what happened? Now you have to put about the study of your research. So about the study means what happened? You have to write either summary or about the study, what you have done in your research report. So that you have to mention. So this is called the summary about your. And sometimes what happens when you are going for the research paper or research educational research, that time you are writing the abstract or executive summary you can write, or brief summary you can write, or about the study you can write. More the wording you can use there. Summary you can write, abstract you can write, brief summary you can write. Okay, about the study you can also mention, you can write. So after that, what happened? Now you have to start your presentation about your research topics. Then you can write this introduction. So after introduction, what happened? So you can use the body of your research, that is literature review, you can write, research design, you can write, research methodology, you can write, data sources, data collection, questionnaire designing, how many people the question, everything you can write after that. And this is called the body of your research. So body, how can you present it as per your requirement, as per your decisions, because those are more interesting for the audience. So if you are writing introduction, then you go for result, then you go for the brief history, then you go for the literature review, then you go for the research design, like this. No, after that, for introduction, then you go for the literature review. After literature review, you go for the research methodology or research design methodology. After that, you go for the data analysis. Then after that, you go for the finding. So these are the body of your research or your report. So after that, finally, you have to go for the conclusion. This is very, very important. After finding of your any research, then conclusion is very, very important, and you have to conclude that in your presentation. And conclusion is very, very important. Everyone, they are given more focus to your finding and your conclusion, and it should be nicely you have to prepare it. Finding cases, number one, bullet point you can give, and number two, number three, number four, number five, like this. In conclusion also you can mention like this, bullet point one, two, three, four, like this. So you have to mention this one. So finding and conclusion is very, very important for every presentation, and this presentation is very, very important. After that your presentation, some recommendation also you have to mention. And so recommendation for mention after that what happened? Now those techniques or those process or those data, if you are using in your researches but you have not mentioned in your particular slides, then you can write after that appendix. So from this we are using this one, from this you are using this one, from this you are using this one. That means what happened? Now sometimes more the resources are there, they are using some other researchers techniques and they are using in your research and find out the solution. And that in that cases what happened? Now we have to use these appendices. You are getting my point or not? Yes. Then tips for better presentation. So when you are going for this presenting in your research work, so one tips is that in these cases what happen, you are going to better presentation. What is this one? Use visual aids, slideshow, videos, images, and other visual elements can aid your presentation. So when you are going for the presentation, you are preparing slide. In this slide also you can mention what happened, the videos, some images, and some other visuals also you can put it. How can you put it this one? Now when you are going for the slide, yes or no, either clicking this one or you can put in your image, slideshow is there. So that means what happened? It look like good. So one by one this slide it will come automatically. Or by clicking this one, the slideshow is different. One is right hand corner, one is left, one up, one down, like this. You should not go for the more, but it will be less, but it should be look like it should be better. And also in that cases you can give the link of the videos also. So if you want to say something about through the video, also you can put in the video, or you can put some images. If it requires some images is required, also you can put in your presentation, PowerPoint presentation. Then it will be look like good. Yes or no? So that's why what happened. Now when you are using when you are doing your presentation for the better presentation, also you can use your video or use your images or other visual. If you want to do it, you can put in your presentation. Number one. And number two is practice. While practicing in your front of your mirror can help you learn more lines, consider asking your friends and family if you can give your speech to them. And sometimes what happens, if you are in front of audience, if you want to give some your image or your what is, you can say that previous some mirror image if you want to give him, or you can give some lines also, so you can give it. Sometimes what happens in case one, what happens now when you are using in our presentation, if you are showing some slide, at the time also you can put your pre presentation of your topics. You can put in your mention this one. So that means what happened, what you have done in about your study, also if you have any images or any paragraph or anything, also you can put in there. Because what happened, now in cases what happened, they are more attract toward that is what in your presentation. Now suppose that if you are putting one sentence, highlight the sentence, this sentence given by our past president Abdul Kalam. So this statement you can put in here and you show him. Yes or no? So that means what happens is this type of practice you can follow in your PPT. Then what happens? They are more attract towards your PowerPoint presentation. Be excited about your work. Encourage the audience to feel excited about your presentation by being energetic speaker along with changing your tone or voice. Now, sometimes what happens if you want to change your voice also when you are presenting that, when you are loudly you are speaking, when you are smooth, when you are slow like this, whenever it is required, then what happens? They are giving the more attract towards your presentation. If every time you are loudly you are presenting your papers or your slide, that maybe they are not more given attraction or attention towards your presentation. So sometimes whatever your voice should be more, sometimes voice should be less, and some voice should be smooth and sound so like this. So you have to do this one. So these three tips is very very important. One is you can use the more visual or images as per the required, and second is those are required previously or the future is required. Those statement or any clip, if it is available, you can put it here. What is in your PPT for the audience. And another one is what happened. Now, when you are going to present your PowerPoint presentation, your voice or tone should be required as per requirement. When it will be loud, when it will be smooth, and when it will be less. So accordingly, if you have to prepare your presentation, then what happens? Your presentation should be better. Clear? Then what are the advantages and the disadvantages? We are not trying the disadvantages, but what are the advantages of the report and the presentation? This is very very important. The general purpose of the research report is to convey the sufficient details of the research work. When you are preparing your report, our major advantages is what happen. Now it is sufficient for the researchers to read and understand of my research work. The general purpose. Why you are preparing the research? If you are preparing your research report, if no one can see, no one can read your research work, then why you are doing your research work? So that means what happens? When you are doing your research work means my aim is or our researchers' aim is that they have to present in the open forum and they have to give the new idea or new conclusion to the researchers or to the audience. And third one is when they are doing your research work, they want to develop a new theory according to his research. So if you are not giving this conclusion or this new theory, if you are not given to the audience or you are not published anywhere or you are not submitted to anywhere, then what is the meaning of the prepare the research report? So that's why what happened. The general purpose of research report is to convey the sufficient details of research work to others. Others means individual maybe, organization maybe, or maybe the society. So this is our main importance or main advantages of our research report. Clear or not? So that when you are doing your research work or when you are preparing your after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you are doing your research work, you are involved yourself in the research work, and finally you are preparing the research report. If your research report, if you are not submitted or someone, if they are not referring the research work for your new research, then what is the meaning of the research? So that's why what happened. The general purpose is what happened. You should convey this your research work to the others. The important. And second one is the presentation. Good presentation skill help to come up with a better idea, find up to date information, and develop creative thinking. Those report you are presenting, you have to present in front of the audience, in front of the organization, in front of the society. And this presentation, what happened? Advantage is what happened? Now, easily we can deliver your research report to the audience, and easily we can convey this research report to the audience or the organization or the participants with the help of PowerPoint presentation. That means what happened? Now easily they can attract, easily they can know what the creative thinking we are using in our research report. So basically what happened? Now these two advantages is coming in our that is prepare the report and the presentation. Presentation is nothing. We have to convey our new ideas, new thinking, new decision making, future recommendation to the peoples, to the audience, and to the society or for the organization. So this is the advantages of the report writing, and this is the advantages of the PowerPoint presentations. So this is total enter about your report writing, and this is advantages of our PowerPoint presentation of our detailed research work. And this is, I think, very important when you are completing your research report and completing your research thesis. You can say that completing your any research work thesis, and after completing your research, so you have to prepare prepare the research report writing, and it is very important how to going to present this report to the audience and to the organization and to the peoples to extract your studies, to given the new solution to the society, to given the new investigation to the audience. So this is the main focus of research report writing, and also the details presentation of the, or you can say that PowerPoint presentation. So thank you all.